Yeah. What is up? What's up? Welcome to Last Call Podcast, weekly podcast. Been having them on Wednesdays. Decided to jump up late night on a Tuesday. I didn't have the notification up for a long time, but it is what it is, man. Got a couple things to put on here, maybe a couple things to discuss. So whoever's going to jump up with me is going to do that. Otherwise, I'm still going to get through it. Do me a favor. I don't know what you got to do to get subscriptions around here, but I'm sure not getting them. So, tell a neighbor, tell a friend, subscribe. This is number 6. If you're new or you didn't have time to be part of the replay gang, go ahead and do that, man. I've had some great conversations with people from the so-called sector that I'm on the outskirts of, but really enjoy some of the conversations and I guess friendships, you could say, I've had with a lot of the people from there. And I've been lucky enough to have people come visit me and step up on the panel with some of the subjects that I've been doing. Of course, it is October, even though I'm still new to the game here, and this would officially be my first October. I am a Halloween dude. Love Halloween, although I'll admit, for a long time, haven't really done anything. And I haven't really done much since COVID, if I'm, telling the truth about anything too social and whatnot. But there were certain things and jobs and stuff I used to do that I don't really want to give away at the moment. To express my intrigue and my joy for Halloween. I'm not really a traditionalist like that. So even as you'll see when the bigger holidays come around, I don't necessarily jump on it. But it's been October, and just about every week now, I guess this one being the 3rd in October, I've had a Halloween themed podcast go on where we've discussed movies. Had some great people, like I said, come through and discuss movies, theories of things. And a lot of these discussions, they don't just rely on Halloween. We often talk about a whole bunch of subjects, but manage to bring it back, the gravitational pull to the theme, which is Halloween. Gone through some great stories, writing, how to present a story, what we look for. We look for unique stories. Decided to label this dishonorable mention. Yo, what's up? We have a brother of a certain age in the house. Power to you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're staying for a bit. And of course, we have Defrauding Charlatans as well. I meant to show off your page a little bit. Get some of those stories in and whatnot, But decided to do this late night, and you have to kind of forgive me. Got my food here that I will be attacking momentarily because I'm hungry. And I don't know if I'm the only one that associates being able to sit down in front of the computer and eat and all in one and catch up with the rest of the day and stuff. But I figured this is a good way that I want to unwind with stuff. So in a little bit, if you guys want, I will definitely post that link. So get yourself ready for some conversation and whatnot. If you'd like to come up and say a few words and whatnot, man. There's a couple things I want to attack. You give me your opinion on that too, and we'll get into it in just a minute. Actually, take a bite of, I'm gonna stuff my face, and then I'm going to continue talking here. All right. I even got dessert waiting. All right. Pie. It's not a euphemism. Real apple pie. That I like here too. So I'm doing it. I am doing it. Yeah. Oh my God, it is Tuesday. See, as I said, used to doing this on a Wednesday now. I was about to say it's hump day. Shit. Not even close, man. Well, we are close. Tomorrow is hump day. When we get to the end of the hump day, we're in the middle of the hump day. We'll be in the middle of the hump. And then you can take it from there. So if you're new, thank you for stopping by, giving it a chance. Do me a favor, subscribe, share, like, do all that things. Grow my baby channel. A little baby channel. Come on, man. Doing this thing. So we're going to switch this up a little bit as we get into tonight's theme. I see one homie coming up. I'll get to you in just 1 second there. I gotta admit, I'm still a newbie here, you know. And without any further ado, we have brother of a certain age.
Oh, my bad. I was on mute. How you doing, brother?
All right, man. Doing all right. Thanks for coming up, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming up.
No problem. You changed that theme, kind of like horrorcore. I like it.
Yeah, I've had it for the last couple ones in there, you know, just a little simple loop during, some of the discussions and whatnot that we've been having too, and getting in the Halloween mood. And I've seen your advertisement for your event right on Halloween, I believe, right?
Yes, sir. I will be going live Halloween night after doing the little trick-or-treat.
All right, very cool. Whenever we get a chance, I'll let you put that up, and then if you want, get a couple more people, you can talk about it. You know.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Plan to be doing that night.
I appreciate it.
So what's new, man?
Nothing, man. You know, I was perusing. I was like, I might just click live and see what people are doing, because I didn't really see anybody live, and I know I'm off tonight, so.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, let me go through my subs first before I do that, because if somebody I find interesting at this moment is going live, let me go listen. So I said, oh, the homie's live. I gotta get in there.
Oh, nice, man. Did you see a notification like I was going live at a certain time, or did you just see it live already?
No. So it's for whatever reason, looking at my phone is a little more efficient. So I looked at my phone subs, and it usually, it shows me the red little dot of people live. I saw a couple of people alive, but I hadn't I like what type of time you on. I was like, let me go over here.
Appreciate it.
I saw the little red light. I was like, oh, okay.
See what's going on.
Going on. Yeah, I know you got a different perspective, and you might be talking about stuff that's outside the box, or was quote unquote trending right now. So I appreciate that always.
Indeed, man. So there's a couple things. Just keeping in the subject of Halloween, I guess, or the month, or we could talk about, other podcasts and stuff. I
Okay.
finally got a chance to listen to the Partners podcast, wasn't it? And I read your comment too. I was like,
Yeah,
that was an interesting one.
yeah, because there's always, like, if you're close to a couple of people. I'm fortunate. I always say I'm unfortunate and fortunate to have lived at like 20 different addresses. So
Mhm.
I've been around, quite a few different people. And I would live in the neighborhood for a year, and you make friends, and then you move to, especially when you're younger and you're out and about.
Mhm.
And one of the things over that time is being able to find some good people that you connect with that's able to, call you on your BS.
Yeah,
And so it was just one of them things where I was listening. I was like, yo, this is heavy because, you know, there's been a couple of Tiz is usually he wears his emotion on the sleeve. So I
yeah,
expect that from him. But there was one thing he did a couple of years ago. It was about DV, and it was a football player who, had DV'd or was accused of it. And he went on this, he erased it. He went on this like, and to me, that was like the purest form of
okay.
him being passionate, and I loved it. But for whatever reason, he deleted that stream. I think probably like immediately. So I know how he can be, and when he gets in that spot where he wants to speak his mind like freely, because
Yeah,
I know they're pretty free with their feelings, but I mean like personal stuff. So
yeah, and they have a great relationship and stuff too,
yeah, yeah.
and seem like they're able to do that kind of stuff with each other and whatnot. I don't think Pat came back for the rest of and I don't know if that was a message or whatever, but there's not a thought in my head that like they're not going to end up okay, you know, with each other and stuff. Because even there was one time, I think you were in the chat too, but they were kind of they're kind of ragging on Pat for a little bit, and I don't even want to go through the whole thing on
I
my.
think I was adding. I think I added to that. Yeah.
You were okay. I think you were in there too,
Yeah.
right? And even I, out of how far I could go with stuff, kind of backed it up because I was like, I don't really know dude like that. Like he could flip on me,
Yeah.
anytime and be like,
Yeah.
go to your last call, what have you. But I kind of scaled it down a little bit, even though I think at the end I was like, man, I hope he's cool
Yeah. Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember that. Because I remember it's funny. I remember exactly where I was. I was pulling into the garage of my job, the parking
Yeah.
garage. And I remember
Oh no.
doing my
Oh no.
doing my little typing and adding stuff to it and
Mhm.
laughing. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes, and it also depends on where the person is at that particular time in their life.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You catch you or me at that day where you said, yo, the next person that say something to me,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? You catch the right person at that right time. It could be,
Right.
a whole different experience than how I normally am. So I get it where you're like, I don't know, am I going too far? Well, I don't really know him. Let me just pull back a little bit. So I appreciate that, but
Yeah.
we up here, we acting a fool. So
Yeah. And we already had, some jokes and stuff, but I think that was the one time I felt like, we were really hitting Pat. I'm like, it's cool that those guys could do it, but I'm like, I'm not in that. They might call me the fourth partner,
yeah,
but I'm like, I'm not that close,
yeah, no. This you and again, you just never know where somebody is at that time. So
Yeah. And I think he understands the space probably a little, well, not probably, better than I do, with the whole thing as well, that you put yourself out there sort of deal, not that you deserve everything that comes back to you, but I think he understands a lot of the nature of this, whatever you call it, YouTube and social media and all that kind of stuff too,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So,
I was talking to somebody earlier about it because they were like, let me try to just clean this up a little bit. So people, so, I just want to make sure I'm being discreet about who I'm talking about. But they were talking about um, somebody that they do content with getting
mhm,
like all kinds of like not all kinds of like a really low percent of like hate or whatever. And I was just saying like when you go on YouTube, any social media platform, and you especially if you cam up and people could look at you and they can look at your background, they can see where kind of see where you live at, they can look at your
Hmm.
physical structure. Like when you cam up, and there are going to be people that are just solely out there for whatever reason. Out of a billion people that's tuning in or using the search engine, they look and they say last call, and they go, I just don't, what he's saying is BS. I don't like what he's saying. I don't like what he look like. And there's just a small percentage of people that's going to do that. And so that's why, like, when we're talking about what we were doing over there at Partners, and we were joking and laughing and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Part of that is when you go online, like I tell people, people just not going to like you because you're breathing up there.
Hmm.
It's gonna be, so, and if you can pretty much deal with that, then I think you'll be all right. And those guys I think they hold each other's feet to the fire to the point, but I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, and they said that like maybe a couple weeks ago or so too. Um, hmm. I'm not even going to try to remember what the whole episode was about, but they were kind of going around to each member and deal, and then sort of saying, Pat, he's cool, he's the nice one, man, that sort of deal. But when he snaps, this, that, the other. So I think that's why they were giving him space kind of at the same time. So good for those dudes. I'm glad they do it. Again, I can't hold up any standard as to how I would handle stuff in that way, but if you're comfortable and that's your space, then all the power to you guys, the way you want to handle that.
Yeah, for sure. And my partner that was one of my closest people around, closest people to me, he the one that unfortunately did what he did to leave this earth. He was one of those people that like I would like call him, looking for like I don't know if I was looking for comfort or I was looking for like a cosign,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd be like, "Nah, bro, you being a scumbag right now. Like I don't understand. Like you already knew when you called me that I was gonna tell you the truth, and I'm just gonna tell you being like what I'm saying. You need, and I'm not saying that's what the situation is, but you need those people in your life to be able to call you out and for you to be able to take that constructive criticism or non-constructive, but take that criticism and look
The
in the
call out
mirror.
in general.
Yeah, look in the mirror. Look in the fucking mirror. Like, okay, yeah, I'm doing this shit. So, it's
Yeah,
up to them to figure that out. But they seem like a pretty tight bunch. So,
indeed. What's up, Steph? Feel free to step up if you'd like. Yeah, hey, Josephine in the house too. What's up? Thank you guys for coming. We'll give you where is it? I didn't get no sound effects for nothing. Come on. There we go.
so I got my own sector salute whenever anybody in the well, you know what? Let me not say that because that's not your thing.
Say again.
No, I was saying I got a sound effect for anybody in the sector come in, but that's not your thing. I don't want to.
Oh, it's cool, man. It's cool. You can do whatever you need to do, man. Especially you. You're one of the ones that got me in here, man. Like, let's go. You got to do this, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
All right. You see, I'm doing it.
Yeah, the thing is like, if nothing else, so like my partner that I was telling you that, passed away or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things like he had a YouTube channel, and I can go back and I've already like screenshotted some of the videos, but I can go and look and see him and hear his voice and see the progression that I know him since we was I've known him my whole life, and to see the fact that he was able to get out of that lifestyle and get to a regular life and stuff like that before he passed. And then actually now to be able to, so I knew his progression, but then to be able to see his videos and hear him talk, just for me personally is cool. So this is a diary for you too.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe somebody might not know, I know your name ain't your first name ain't last, your last name ain't Call.
Mr. Call.
You know what I'm saying? Unless it is. But point being, somebody can identify you and say, hey, that's my cuz, that's whoever, you know what I'm saying? And this is what they did. That's why I don't do things online that I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
I like that when I'm not online. So my people that watch, they not like, yo, this dude is, unless I tell them I'm doing a show, I'm putting on a show, they gonna like, yo, this dude is not, this ain't who he is. So
I
I
might
don't
be more of an asshole in person. Tell you, tell you the truth.
listen. You have to be a little bit more stern in person because people will take every little piece, every little milliliter, millimeter, centimeter. They will take it, and you have to be able
Indeed.
to stop that. So I'm much more of a jerk in person too. So
Yeah, that's what. But you know what? There are a lot of fake jerks out there too, man. That want to play the game, but it's like, dude, you don't even know. You don't even know what you're dealing with at the moment. Like,
yeah, I,
really could be a jerk, man.
yeah. I think being a little bit of being sarcastic and kind of a jerk in a fun way is kind of trending right now. It's
Yeah,
not it's one of those things where like you know for years everybody kind of just hey, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it, and we lived like that for many years, and then now it's kind of like, nah, we gonna, if you doing some dumb shit, if I think you doing some dumb shit, I'm gonna say it, and let the chips fall where they may.
and I've done that with the risk of, like I'm talking about, like calling people out, but not doing it as a hobby. Doing it because my conscience is bothered,
Right.
you know, and I feel like I should say something because there was a while I didn't say much, or I didn't quite have the words to say what I wanted to say. Untrackable, what is up? Thanks for coming by. And as I found ways that I could say things, not even that delicate, but articulate it more to the individual, then yeah, I became more vocal with certain criticisms and with certain people, along the way. And I think that's important. I don't know if I buy into it's not how you say it, not what you say, it's how you say it, like that sort of crap. I don't know. I think different occasions stand for different things, as well. And that doesn't mean we're just walking up to strangers and sharing your opinion and stuff. It really does depend on the relationship you have with those individuals too. But definitely as my vocabulary grew, as maybe some confidence, I definitely started sharing my opinions with others and calling people out or calling out their inconsistencies. In other words, calling out their lies. And if they're telling lies to you and being inconsistent with you, that's a breach in the relationship, right? So I try to not when I feel like I'm insulted because of that, I feel like it's necessary to say something, So I do.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think part of it is the other end of it is a person being able to be called out on their BS, and even if it's just considering the possibility that you might be wrong. You know what I'm saying? So like, I find in my travels on social media, there's more people blaming other people than saying, you know what, I might be wrong in this situation. Um,
Mhm.
and I think part of it is because of the criticisms. If you have like an unpopular opinion, you obviously you're gonna get a little bit. Your pushback might be a little different than if you're going along with the popular opinion. But you know, part of being on social media is being able to be called out. If somebody if you say something, if I say something, and statistically, especially if I'm quoting statistics or you know
Uh, right.
in how statistics work, and I say something and I'm wrong, I have to be able to be called out. Or if somebody doesn't share my opinion, that doesn't mean they're a hater. Have the conversation, and then, like I said, I go into situations, believing that I could be wrong in this. This is just coming from me.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm. That's an interesting thing to say because I think how conversations I think I might go in like that. Otherwise, I'm pretty much convinced of what I'm saying.
All right.
And I know how that's convinced even before, because if I'm going at it, I'm going at it, man. You know, so it's my way, and I'm even more impressed if you have a different perspective where I didn't see it. I'm like, all right, I can admit that, but for the most part, you know, I'm going in convinced, man, and that's the way I'm having my conversation with you.
Yeah.
I am breaking it down, you know, and I don't know. That's just maybe it comes from writing essays, having to defend papers, um, arguing with some other intellectuals, that sort of stuff.
Right.
Because even later parts of when I was going to school and I was in grad school, a lot of my friends ended up being lawyers. They were doing law and stuff where a part of me was kind of like, I should be doing that, but they had like a shitload of money anyway, so that's kind of what they were doing.
Yeah.
So they were so stuck, and I was really able to see how these attorneys and how they think. If people are watching any trial or reading about any trial with their civilian brain, you're just not getting it. You're not getting what these guys do. This is a game of numbers. It's you have your defendant, you have your opponent, the offense and defense. You got a judge, you got like a referee, and you need to win.
Yeah.
Basically, what that is, man.
Yeah.
Steph, you know, you could click in here and correct me if you want. You know?
Yes, Steph. If she comes up, I'll share a little bit about. I actually had to because what I do for a living, I actually had to testify in the case. But I'll save that for another time. But yeah, man, it is definitely a dance, and as somebody who has had to testify, I got deposed by the prosecutor, and I ended up testifying. The prosecution didn't use me, and then defense used me.
Okay.
But like I said, if Stephanie comes up, in what capacity? Because I think it'll be like a more interesting conversation to have a lawyer, like, kind of guide us through the thought process and just stuff like that. But yeah, it is definitely a memorable experience for me to have to testify. I don't even know why I got into like that specifically. I'm thinking about the case. There was so much that happened during this particular case that there was so many layers. When I do actually, I hope she comes up, because when I do actually talk about it, it's just so many different layers of what actually goes on in the dance, that this tightrope that's going on in the courthouse and in the hallway of the courthouse. More interestingly, in the hallway of the courthouse.
Yeah. I hear that too, man, and it's just different vantage points, why they're arguing. I started to learn, when I again went back to college. I wasn't like a straight to college individual. I actually dropped out a few times till I started understanding what learning is and what education was supposed to be in society. I had a more of an awakening that sort of way. And I thought there are different categories of students, I'm sure you found. So when I kind of went back to school and took it seriously, my eyes were wide open, right? I was reading everything I could get my hands on, a few books at a time, finishing a few books weekly. I was that hungry to do stuff, When I finally had good relationships with the professors, they were actually calling me. One of the things that did it, I was hanging around the cafeteria or whatever, and I saw one of my professors walking by, and this was a class of like 70 people. I was in this class, and I just thought out of respect, I'd say, "Hi, professor. This is a guy, we never had a conversation, nothing like that. I'll be damned if he knew who the hell I was." But he was walking by, and I'm like, "Hey, professor, just saying hi." And he stopped. He seemed like a very aloof individual. He actually styled himself after Mark Twain. He really liked Mark Twain because of the
Okay.
bushy, white-haired
Okay.
gentleman, and
Okay.
he had the mustache and everything, to go with it, And
Yeah.
he would even, the poor guy, poor older dude, he even get kind of lost in class, like lose his place. So it was almost time for this dude to retire, man.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, hey, professor, and he stopped. It's kind of like thinking pose, like, what's he gonna say? And he goes back at me and he's like, hey, you wrote the paper about blah 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 blah. The dude damn near recited my crappy little paper, but he
Mhm.
liked it, you know.
Mhm.
And he told me what he liked about it, and I was like, "Oh shit, you read this thing? Like you read it like that?"
Mhm.
you know. And then once in a while, we'd stay after class and talk, and that would kind of get me in the door with some other professors and stuff too. That they're actually asking this guy, who at one point in his life thought he had no business being there,
Mhm.
his opinion and stuff like that. So I really like that. I really like when they would have conversations or try to have conversation with the class, you sharing your opinion and stuff. So the test kind of reflected that at one point when I did it. I started understanding how test taking works, all that sort of crap, which sounds kind of stupid at an older age, but it, you know, I wasn't getting learning as a kid. But anyway, come to find out that my other classmates, they were there just to do whatever the hell they had to do to get that A and get the hell out of there. They weren't necessarily involved in the material. They weren't necessarily trying to expand their minds with anything like that. They just were kind of like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't care. Literally don't care. And there were a lot of sociology subjects and psychology and stuff. And I was like, they don't even really care how this is, you know, what this means in society, or how to be introspective with the information or anything like that as well. So what do you do? What do you do? It's just like that.
Yeah, but that stuff like that, like, so so I, let me just let me back up a little bit, because a lot of times when I'm having conversations, because my natural instinct is to interview somebody.
Hmm.
So I'm like listening to what you're saying, looking, I'm like taking mental notes, because I want to go back to some of the stuff, and this has nothing to do with what you
All right.
originally um came online to talk about. That's why I'm prefacing it.
Yeah,
Prefacing.
that's cool. We're gonna
Um,
curb it a little bit in a little bit, so we're good. We're good.
okay, okay. So you had said, like, I like to get into the mindset of when people are in places or rooms or atmospheres where they don't feel like they're worthy to be there, or more importantly, like, they look at everybody else around them and it's
Mhm.
like, yo, these people, I don't think they respect me. I don't think they, so you have mentioned, like, somebody, like, to have these people looking at your paper from your mind, your standpoint, your mindset of, like, I'm nobody. Why do they um talk about, like, that kind of feeling of why you felt like that going in, and how it felt once you started it? It's because, say what you want, we all kind of like some kind of validation.
Mhm.
And so, like, talk about that's interesting to me, how you went from, like, why would they listen to me, to having to deal with the fact that now they want to talk to you.
Hmm. It's a good question. Um, I'm not even sure if there's a simple answer to go with that, but I'll try to recall some things. I think a lot of it has to do with being inquisitive and being observant, right? And maybe having some of that doubt. I Even though I would say I grew up pretty average, had some of the average things in my house and whatnot. I don't know what missing a meal was like being a kid or anything. So my parents provided. They were broke as hell, but we didn't really know it, sort of deal. They did what they could do for us. Which today it's not the balance. Well, you're going to notice too, it's not quite the balance of what it is today. To ensure the child's mental health and that they're well rounded, and everybody gets a ribbon, everybody gets a medal. And I was just talking to this with one of my family members, where my nephew goes to soccer, and I brought the little kid out trying to do laps with me and stuff, and he's just not these kids, they just don't want to be outside. They don't want to do anything active. And he's like, between my nephew and his son, bring him out to soccer, and there's no killer instinct. There's no, we're trying to win this shit, whatever it is, tackle this, that, run after the ball. Everything's so nonchalant, which is, in my opinion, kind of a representative of a assured society that no matter what happens, you don't have to have that killer instinct. Everybody's going to be okay. Everybody's going to get that snack at the end of the day. Everybody's going to play, no
Right,
matter
right.
how good you are or how bad you are. That's kind of just where it is. So, growing up, I don't know. I didn't have a whole bunch of confidence with a lot of things growing up. I had an older sister. It was pretty rough growing up with her. She was kind of like the one to get into all the trouble, and I was just more. I don't really want to use a word like innocent, but more curious about life, kind of just aloof in my own right about stuff. Um, and with that, I wasn't that great in school. Being the kind of type of person I was, the point that I was getting to with the parents and stuff, when you have parents barely making it too, but trying to provide, they got to be on the outside of a lot. So with my parents, it was kind of like, we handle our thing. And I should have understood more as a kid. You need to do your thing for the household, and your thing is school. Like, as much as they said that or tried to jam it in my skull, I probably didn't get that till being a lot older, right? So it was kind of being on my own a lot. And me and my sister, we're only a couple of years apart, but we never really hung out like that, right? Even her friends would hang out with me after a certain time, like in high school. I know, observing others, I know I wasn't on a particular level where I wanted to be, because there were certain things, even at a young age. I must have been in my early teens, maybe 13, 14. My father brought us to see the minister Farrakhan.
Mm.
And it's not as though I was a follower like him, but my dad really knew that kind of stuff well. And whenever I would see people like that, I knew I wasn't on a particular level, because I was hearing words that I thought were impressive that they were using, that they managed to fit in naturally. I noticed certain confidence in people as well. Like when I saw people like Malcolm X speak, same with Louis Farrakhan, they would smile while ripping you intellectually to shreds. And I was like, I'd like to argue with people like that, you know,
Right, right, right.
in my part of that as well. So being in situations like that and being outdone, I guess I'd say, by people like my sister, who I'd say she was on a different intellectual level than I was. Um, I always knew that there was room for, I don't even want to say improvement, but maybe more for growth. But again, at that time, being younger, I didn't know how education was supposed to do that. School was just this institution they sent us to, in the middle of the day, kind of like that. So I guess it came a little more from life experiences, um, and I would really try to take charge of speaking in general. Probably later on in college, and when I started working different jobs, started looking up particular authors. When I would start reading, I was a late reader, like I said, but when I did start reading, I couldn't put down any books. And another thing I was doing when I would read and not understand words, I'd make my own glossary in the back, put my own definitions in there and try to incorporate those words into my any of my sentences when I speak. Um, and I think basically when you start learning like that, you start to associate with like-minded people who have ideas. You start to branch out with some of those ideas. You start to look for some of that material to support your ideas. And this is, I gotta say, sort of pre-internet and social media stuff, so things didn't travel like that. So if there's any younger people that don't really understand what I call doing the work, which is going after the information, not just going after the information or going down the rabbit hole for things that you like and you find interesting just to support your biased or subjective thinking. It's to get the whole rounded picture. And I do think that's kind of the negative thing about this social media. It's kind of like you could anything you believe, you could find a quote unquote community to support you and back up your crazy thinking.
For sure. For
As much
sure.
as, and that's very dangerous to me. So I feel very fortunate that when I was very hungry for knowledge, you had to go find it. You had to go find authors, and I like hearing opposing views to things because that gives me a better rounded picture of whatever it is that I am finding out about. Um, so moving along, I was, I guess, part of it also. I wouldn't want to embarrass myself by speaking on things I didn't know. Again, growing up, my father and my sister would argue at the dinner table like the world is coming to an end. Of whatever it is. It could be and again, a couple years older than me, while I was, you know, busy watching cartoons or distracted at the dinner table, kind of moving around, maybe trying to see the TV that's, muted or whatever the deal is. These two are just arguing about whatever it is, and it was usually maybe politics or whatever the idea was. It was somewhat healthy because they would exercise, of course, expressing their ideas, but they didn't really have a healthy relationship like that. If I am to look back and look at that whole thing, most of it kind of seems like a lot of those arguments were pretty angry. But I mean, back in those days too, I've seen my family. Um, we would be kind of like the party house once in a while. At the end of the week, everybody's working, all that sort of stuff. We'd have the drinks, all that. I basically wake up to Saturday morning cartoons, walking around, drinks and smoke and all that sort of stuff to make it to the TV. But sometime in the middle of the night, between all the music and having fun, maybe card games, this, that, the other, groups would form to argue whatever it was. So there would be a question that was posed or some sort of argument throughout the night. I'm saying argument, but in a way, they would love each other, of course, by the end of the night and make sure everybody, wish everybody to make it home safely if they were going home and not sleeping on our couch or whatever the deal was, But the way they would argue with each other, you would swear that they were just a hair away from all out war.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I learned, and that's how I saw how passionate people could be. But again, it's a learning experience that it doesn't really have to be that loud or that aggressive to express your point. And sometimes that way, I'd say wins an argument, but wins an argument, gets a win for your side. I've also learned to do debate in college as well because I was interested. A lot of people think they're good debaters because, oh, I could argue. Well, it's not about arguing. It's about how much information you could provide and stick to the formula of whatever it is that you're debating also. So, so a couple things with that just to round off, and I hope I answered your question. It wasn't all that long-winded sort of deal. I never was the one to want to lead a conversation, but if it so happened to come around that my point of view was needed or I was asked that I wanted to give a great piece to that puzzle, if I were asked about it, that I wanted my perspective to be unique, I wanted it to be interesting, and that was enough for me. That somewhat answer. Sometimes I go off there.
Yeah, a little bit. I was just so my main focus, my main question, two-part questions was like you answered why you didn't feel like listen like these people would look at your work and consider it. So you did answer that. And then the second part of that was like, how did you feel that once, you know, I don't want to use the word validation, but once it was for you, you knew that you had people's ear and they wanted to talk to you about something that you wrote coming from your background. Like, how was that? Like hearing like, hey, we want to hear more. We want to engage with you when you didn't feel like you probably were just turning in something, turning in a project and trying to get a good grade or whatever. And they're like, now we want to talk more about this. How was that?
Um, so I think I doubted myself, as I said, a lot. So it, a lot of the times when people are kind of like having a real conversation, I kind of do a double take, or I used to, and be like, really? You're really talking about this? Or even sometimes just a genuine conversation. Um, and I remember I had a thought not too long ago. Unfortunately, it was from my cousin. You know, he passed away and stuff like that too. But we haven't spoken to each other for a long time, and we're both phone people. And we had been so busy at a particular time. Um, you know, I was just used to being on the go and not having long conversations and stuff like that too. But he called me, and it must have taken me about 5 minutes to really adjust and say, "Oh, we're talking. Like this is why you called." You know, to really talk. So it always kind of interests me and somewhat catches me sometimes even off guard when people really want to just talk. Now, I think when people, um, you know, we're talking about my writing or something I said, I think one of the things I do is try to immediately zone in on the train of thought or what my work ethic was of how I came up with, you know, particular thoughts and subject material. Um, because my whole thing, and I can't, you know, maybe it'll come up later and stuff, can't really remember all the books and stuff that I read for. I wouldn't even say typical self improvement. Man, I wish I had some of the names of those books and stuff. But some of the easier reads were, you know, how to speak in public, this, that, the other. But some of the things that I read were about your conscience and how you think and how you should trust your intuition. Um, and some of that stuff had worked for me. And with people asking me, because that wasn't the first time, if I
Mhm.
could tell you a smaller story, uh, see how I clean this up a little bit. So I was in class, and this class consists of educators, of old educators, of very old educators, and starting educators as well. And I'm sitting in this class. It's in a master's class, and I kind of need to cut the corners on some of this story, but I'll try and see what I can do. Anyway, this professor that we had was really he fancied himself a liberal. This is Jewish guy from New York, and he was very comfortable with the N word and B word and a couple other words because he thought he was hip and he didn't mind saying whatever he was saying because, you know, I grew up in this neighborhood, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. Something, well, let me back it up a little bit before I get to this point. There was a time in that class where, no, I can't tell that side of the story yet. Let me just continue. I'm sorry. I haven't thought about this for a while. Um, so in this class, maybe about 60-ish people in this auditorium. I forgot what the question was asked, but the discussion started to center around basically the competency of Black people. It was only myself and another Black woman in class. And the way that the auditorium, that my classmates, old and young, were speaking like we couldn't do anything.
Mm.
Like we couldn't speak proper English. And they were so amazed that anybody could. And it was So it was such a horrible conversation. I didn't quite have the ammunition. That was one of the things you asked too. I always wanted to make sure I had the ammunition before I opened my mouth and corrected people or contributed to a conversation and stuff. So I seriously left that class thinking like, this is what they think of us? Like, even at this level? Shit. And I was like, this is bad. I even spoke to an old professor about it. And I was like, this is bad. This is a university and people are talking like this. And this is for education. It's like I said, it was a course for education and stuff too, at a higher level at that. So what I did, I think it was a weekly class. I got myself together, my thoughts together, and I wrote about a page and a half of what I thought about the class. Very articulate. Reminded them that we fought in every war, that there are people that you simply find invisible that are sitting in the class listening to you. Like it was a teaching experience or a teachable moment and whatnot. And I got my thoughts down. I wrote it, like I said, I articulated everything I wanted to say. And I printed out enough copies that I I stood by the door for the next class, and everybody that was coming into the class, I handed them a sheet of this paper that I wrote. And for about the first 5-10 minutes of class, the professor came in. I handed it to him also. And first 5-10 minutes of the class, nobody, you could hear a pin drop. Everybody just read. I kind of stood there watching everybody read what I wrote. A couple people shaking their head, that sort of deal. And when they were done, they put their head up and a couple said, "This is remarkable," you
Mm,
know? And it started a discussion in this class. The professor, who I thought was cool with it at the time, he goes, "This is very good. You put your thoughts down and this sort of deal too." And but the class was very, very supportive to the fact that even I was walking across campus, maybe a year later or so, this woman introduces me to her mom and says, "This is the guy that wrote that paper from that class I told you about." She was like, "Damn, that was however you felt in that class," and kind of congratulated me on that paper and stuff. Uh, all that to say, got my thoughts, my words together, and that was more of a testament of how powerful words could be, because we had that conversation in class. It's sort of, I wanted to see how the professor was going to act towards that. And here's interesting. I'm going to try to fast forward a little bit. Um, it seemed like he was humble enough to accept that, and he wasn't. And I know he wasn't, because the following week I handed in an essay that I thought was pretty good, and he gave me a B on it. Normally, I don't care about A's and B's. I never even cared about a GPA all those times I flunked out of college. But at this particular time, I now knew what good writing was. He gave me a B, and I wasn't okay with it. And this dude I used to sit beside, have jokes with, I said, "Dude, he's giving me a B. I think there's something wrong with this." I approach him, and he says, you got away with the thing last week. You should be you should be okay with this, right?" So he goes, "If you want to rewrite it, I might look at it," sort of deal. So I actually went to go rewrite it. Then when I get in front of the computer, I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is a good ass essay, man. Like, I shouldn't have to touch this up at all. And so I didn't. What I did was I changed the date and I changed the title of the essay, and that was it. So I go back to class. I show my buddy Richard. I go, "Look at these two essays," and he's like, "They're exactly the same." And I go, "Yeah, I'm handing it in like this." He's like, "You're handing it in?" He's like, "You are nuts." So I'm like, "All right, watch me, man." So I go up to him. I hand my professor this paper, and he looks at it and puffs out his chest, and he's like, "That is what I'm talking about. This is great." And my boy is just laughing in the auditorium. I go back to sit down. I go, "See, I told you this guy is full of shit." But
I- yeah,
go
that almost sounds like sometimes when like in historically when like a woman would do an article after or she would do something the same after trying so hard and she would keep getting turned down or somebody that was black was applying
yeah,
for a loan or a mortgage and they just use somebody else of a different color of a different gender and the people at the top go, "Oh, you know what? They see fit." Like the fact that he slapped the desk and said, "No." So, you was just like, "What?"
You know what? I already played that out in my head. Even as I was that sure, because I'm reading this thing. Not that I'm that great or anything, but I was like, I feel like this guy has a chip on his shoulder now because of that, right? And I never doubted myself for a second when I decided to do that. Even showing my boy, I was like, look, I'm handing it in like that. He
Mhm.
really couldn't believe. And he sat there. I think part of him started to question things about how honesty works and how professors in the school system might work, that things aren't necessarily as fair as he may have imagined before. But by that time in school and with other things in my life, I knew I knew institutions and things weren't
Yeah. Uh,
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 what they were supposed to be. You
yeah.
know.
Do you feel like in that particular situation, like, um, like if you're doing like music or something like that, or if you have a trailer, it's like those things catch people's eye. You think it's symptomatic of like that, like the title, like the things that you changed didn't change the actual article, but for whatever reason, it grabbed his attention more. Like you think he just didn't read it in the same way because of what do you think made him, you know,
Um, he wanted to win. He felt like because I basically commandeered the class, and that was my way. And it wasn't rebellion, or I was just so bothered. Actually, the black lady that was in class, she never came back. She dropped out because of him.
oh
You know,
wow.
I
Mm,
ran into her sometime on campus. I was like, I wish you would have stayed. I really wish you would have stayed it out. Um, I totally understand how she felt about it because she was just like, I cannot stand there in this class, and it's tough. I made a complaint with a professor once, and that whole process of filing your grievance and stuff is hard as shit, and you're gonna lose most likely, you
mm,
know. So that was another thing I learned, that if you're not completely convinced, and like you said, man, if you could call people out, but if you're not good at the introspection or and calling yourself out, for things too. Let me tell you something. A lot of people truly believe they're honest people, that their moral compass is all calibrated the way that they think it is. But finding deep and true honesty is one of the hardest things. Being honest with yourself, like really
mm,
honest. There's so much shit to uncover. There's so much mental gymnastics and suppression and things we do that, yeah, for simple things, we could be honest with ourselves about what we like, what we don't like. But for how we arrive, with our schemata, the way we think, the way our thinking is made up of, it's very deep. So I think when I don't even want to say master that, but when you are oh, when you wake up to that, it really determines how you interact with people, and most of the time, how you interact with yourself. You know.
yeah, I think like I remember like one of the first times that I've truly started to like make a concerted effort all the time to be honest with myself was
Hmm.
after two people who didn't necessarily see eye to eye or even really like each other said the
Hmm.
same thing to me about myself.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It was like two like people on it would be like if we're gonna go political, it'd be like a Democrat and a Republican saying the same exact. You know how
Okay.
odd it is when we say, they agreeing on. It was like one of the moments where I heard something from somebody, then I heard something. Well, I'm gonna just say they were women. I heard something from one woman, and I heard something from another woman, and it was like the same thing about myself. And I was like, oh, this might actually, what I'm saying, be true. And
Hmm.
I had this like really, self-reflect. That was like really the first time I could remember like checking myself. And then from there, I started to like really take stock of and even through the pain of, being wrong or being a jerk, or just like having to own up to the fact that yeah, you lied in this situation, or you was
Yeah.
deceptive, or you lied by omission. Like you did all these things to, because you were, whether it be fear of like rejection, fear of
Yes.
judgment, or just fear of being who you truly are. You know what I'm saying? We try to figure out, like you said, them gymnastics that we try to figure out to get around these situations. And that was one of the first times to have two people say this particular thing about myself. And a lot of it had to do with my word. Like you don't keep your word. You don't. And it's just like, well, yeah, but I keep my, and it's like you give an
Oh
example
shit.
after example after
That's a tough one.
example. I'm sorry, say again.
I said that's a tough one too.
Yeah. And you start giving example after example after example. And it's like, oh,
Shit.
yeah, you can only, but I had to, and I was tired, and you can do that only but so much before you
Hmm.
actually have to go, wait a minute, this is more than one person,
Yeah.
and nobody's coming at me with like vitriol. They just like saying it like, hey, I'm seeing this,
Yeah.
and so that was like really, and so looking at yourself in the mirror, and like you said, there's not too many like fully honest people. And the other thing about honesty is sometimes, when you start becoming like completely honest, you lose people along the way, and a lot of people don't want to. Just
Absolutely.
a lot of people just be like, you know what? Let me just let me just let last call have. Let me just let brother have this, because I don't want to. I
Hmm.
don't even want to go down that road. But
Absolutely. That is some really real stuff, man. And unfortunately, I mean, I think these people existed before, but I think the pressure is on even more so now to not confront yourself, but rather put up a front. Um, so you were met with a decision like, am I going to listen to these individuals, or I find more people that think like me, sort of deal, which I think is the trend these days. It's so much easier to in your social media to find this group, that group, that more or less allows you to behave the way that you've um, uh, were accustomed to, excuse me, behaving,
mm,
right? Rather than, man, I got to change some things, or ask myself some very tough questions. Now it's just kind of like, yeah, forget what you're saying. Let me get some approval over here
yeah,
instead.
yeah.
You know, damn.
That mirror, brother, that mirror. I'm all about it though now. It's like, and I could honestly say to anybody that's listening, like once I got true and honest with myself, and I was able to be myself around, especially the people that are close to you, it starts there, and it really starts and ends there,
Hmm.
because the people outside your circle don't really matter at the end of the day, other than like a potential employer, or something like that, that you have to like, you know to a certain extent, you have to like, okay, I gotta, they have these rules and things like that. Okay. Other than that, like, um to a certain extent, like, for the most part, when you start to be honest, you will find that the people that really rock with you, and that really love you, they're gonna be there.
Absolutely.
And they're gonna, maybe they might be a little judgy, and maybe they might call you on your shit. But at the end of the day, if you look at somebody and you ask yourself, what is this person's intentions? Is this person trying to lead me down, or is this person really want what's best for me? And when you make that decision, then it's easy just to be yourself, and then you can determine who wants to, who has the best interest, who has your best interest for you, and
Hmm.
who's about to BS, and you move on.
Yeah, I think you touched on a very good point there. Also, when you reach that level of true confidence, you have that you're comfortable with you because you're very honest with you. I do think people feed off of that. I do think people recognize people who are comfortable in their own skin and don't bullshit you. I think they actually, sometimes they're afraid of people like that, and sometimes they gravitate. I've had arguments with people that I'm not where I probably wrote them off. And I decided, actually, just a little bit of a side note, that no matter what situation I'm in, I'm going to try to handle it as though anybody could die the next day. So I don't want anything on my conscience, something that I should have said, a friendship where I should have mended, um, to leak over to the next day. Unless it's something like it happens in the night. All right, let's sleep on it, what have you, and then we'll chat about it. Um, so I I've lost friends from being, honest, or just in arguments and stuff too. And I've had some of those same people call me up or come visit me when they've needed an honest opinion on something. I think that was one of the best, or some of the best compliments I've ever gotten from people I haven't spoken to in a while. And they're like, "I'm just asking you because I think you'd be fair in this situation, or you'd really tell me." I
Right.
used to There was one time in my life I really got a lot of calls like this, like, "What would you do with this?" And again, just being honest, like, "Look, I'm not you, but this is what I would do in that situation, man." You know, and thinking about that, it does. Um, it could take a lot from somebody to ask another person those types of questions. To have faith in somebody that they won't judge you, and at the same time be able to give you some advice or talk you through something too. You know, and yeah, definitely experienced some of that.
Yeah. It's also like valuable to yourself, or well, I feel like you know, when people feel enough or think enough of you to call you or text you and looking for your honesty, you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I think that's also that sign that you are moving in a direction that, you know what I'm saying, it's always it's gonna be helpful for you, that you being honest and you being upfront, you being authentically yourself, and people still come to you because they want to hear from you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, absolutely. Goodness, man, we are going deep today.
Hey, but like much like I got to do on my page, because I'm always like heavy. I'm hoping to have a little bit of fun on Halloween, but
Yeah, yeah. You want to switch gears a little bit, or what? See
it's
who.
up to no, it's up to you. It's up to you, man. This your show. This your show.
All right, cool, cool. We'll see who we still got in the house. I know some people maybe do what I do sometimes, kind of log in. They're like, "All right, we'll come back," or it's getting too deep, or it's just between these two right now. Let's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I sense a little bit of that. Where is everybody at? Who is with us? And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff
That's it.
too.
Hit the like, support the channel. He's looking to grow. I know some people are just getting up here to just talk, but we looking to grow out here. We looking to grow.
Yeah, man. And it's nothing's wrong with having the fun that we have and discussing real things too, man. That's what we do. It's what real friends do too, man.
Yes, sir.
Get all this off your chest and share ideas,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So I guess we could make it to one of the topics that I have. I'd like to hear. I actually would love defrauding charlatans opinion on a little bit of this too. I wonder if he's around. Let me know if you're around, my dude. Are you? Are you around? Are you around? This is some store. Sort of has to do with the movies and this kind of thing too. Want to pose this question, this scenario, but I want to also be careful the way I do it. This is why for this one I didn't have any pictures or anything. So I want to get into it. So let me back up here. This is all right. So I wanted one of the reasons why I labeled it dishonorable mentions. It's kind of a joke. Every title that I do has a little bit of a joke in it, or something ironic, I should say, for that matter. Um, and it also being October, Halloween coming up, a whole bunch of movie reviews, and actually, oh, you know what? This is one of the sites. I did a, what was it, last week? I was starting to go through some website or some YouTube pages that I liked that dealt particularly with horror movies. And we were able to get through at least maybe three, maybe four. But there were definitely others that I liked as well. Um, I don't really want, I'm not trying to put anybody on blast, but it's just a um, more. Now, I'm just going to put this up because I put up the other ones. And again, it's more of a shout out. I'm not trying to put down any. Um, just trying to do this as I'm talking. It never works that way. Uh, not trying to put anybody down like that. So if I were going to extend the day that I was going through the websites that I like, I recall the YouTube channel Dead Meat. We did Spooky Rice. We were doing a couple other websites that I like, and simply I like these ones because they also have a great love for horror movies and stuff as well, and they do a good job at their commentary and some of their facts that they give during as well. Saying that and being one of the channels that I really like, I notice a lot of people, and again, I don't want to give this film, particularly the director, more notoriety. And I think we did bring this up on this channel as well. What I'm talking about is this one. Because I just got in a discussion. Sorry, let this play, but hopefully you guys could see what I am talking about over
Yeah,
here.
it's up
Right?
there. I can see it. I'm gonna just run to the bathroom, so I'm gonna just turn
Okay.
the volume on.
All right. So I got to put this question up almost every time I see this. And I'll go back a little bit. The name of the movie is this that you see on your screen right now. I had liked this movie when it first came out. I was actually so much a fan of this movie, I bought a copy of it. Now, if you watch this movie, maybe even by today's standards, you might miss a couple of the things associated with this movie. It's very simple. It's a monster feature, but it's kind of told in the ways of a more traditional movie and storytelling as far as creature features. Right, that's what I mean. As far as creature features go. So, uh, and again, I'm not trying to give this notoriety because that's one of my problems with this. Not so much the movie, and people that know because I think we brought him up already. So we're talking about the director, which I'll say his name now, maybe for this time, so everybody knows who to look out for and who I'm speaking about. The director's name is Victor Salva, and I wouldn't be putting his name out there if it weren't for that he was tried, accused, tried, and actually convicted. A lot of times today, in today's culture, we cancel people. We cancel people in the court of opinion. And for the life of me, this review for this website, which is called Off the Shelf Reviews, they do very good work. I love these guys. Shout out to these guys. They do such good work that with anything that you think of, some of the movies that I've seen, and I kind of test them to see if they catch particular nuances, like if they're going to pick up on this, if they're going to speak on this. They actually do, and so they're very good at what they do. I uh, I don't want to get my geography wrong, but I do think they're in the UK somewhere over there. So they even have the harder task of getting North American, particularly American movies, the nuances and everything correct. But they do. They go the distance and they do that. So I was very. I guess I'd say disappointed to see that their latest review is on Jeepers Creepers, knowing damn well that this movie is frowned upon for a lot of us in the horror community. This is why I would really like Defrauding Charlatans to show up and give me his, because we also, I might do a short or a little video on Tim Burton and his fiasco over there, and kind of what I think with that. I might even do one on this one too, but who knows? That's maybe something to do in the future. So I become disappointed with anybody who still promotes this movie as though they aren't aware of this director. Now, we're not talking about rumors. We're not talking about uh, um, hearsay. This guy has actually been convicted for SAs and on minors at that. Another troubling um, thing about this director is he has particular funding and funneling from the Coppola family too. They funded some of his work, knowing what type of individual this is. And maybe it's me being too tough, because even if you look along the comment section of these guys, um, you'll see some people that, yeah, I love this movie, been waiting on you guys to cover this. And then you see some people too being like, hey, I can't enjoy this the way I used to. Like I told you, when this came out, I loved the way that they laid out the story, but I since then, of course, got rid of my copy of it. And anytime I see somebody do a review or talk about it, there's whole channels on this that just won't let it die. I Once in a while I'll drop a comment and say, hey, like, you guys know the background of this. Oftentimes, somebody refute or wants to rebuttal what I say by saying, you have to separate the artist from the art. And I would imagine that is um, a long time discussion where people go back and forth. Do you separate the artist from the art? Um, I'm not sure how far you go with that, but I do think it should be consistent in certain ways, because this guy isn't a rapper or whatever in a certain industry. He's not going to be ostracized because he's a behind the scenes individual. Um, and again, it's not hearsay. He's definitely being convicted. He's been convicted many on a couple other occasions, and given very lenient sentences for what he's done in his past. Is that the case that he did his time? He paid his debt, so he's free to do whatever he could do. I might believe that in some crimes, but I do not believe that in this case. So, what is the reluctance to stop talking about this, as I know I'm doing, and maybe perpetuating the notoriety out there? I'm not so sure I'm doing that like that in this format. And that's another reason why I didn't make a short video on it and put it out there also. Not only just for that sort of backlash, well, look what you're doing sort of deal, just because if you are to end the discussions, and for my people in here who you Umar people, part of me kind of thinks like, if you just stop talking or reporting on him, he might go away. He might go away. But this is a person that also likes the spotlight, so it's kind of a false equivalency with this as well. I'm just gonna press play here just to move the name along, because I don't even want it on my screen like that. But again, as far as this YouTube page goes, I do like these guys. I just saw something. Your mic was off.
No, I was just saying I'm back. I was just giving you a thumbs up without interrupting you talking. I just wanted to say I'm back.
Cool. Appreciate it. I'd love to get your feedback in just a little bit here. But again, just for people, anybody watching this, I'm not spamming this channel. Like I said, they've done amazing reviews. They're good at all the nuances, great at the context of things too. It just surprises me that people won't let this go. And is it part of the larger argument that you got to separate the art from the artist? Yes, there are a lot of crazy artists out there, you know, that people would and want to mention. I will leave that argument unless somebody brings it up. I'll go with them on that. Um, but I don't know. It being October, Halloween, these things come up. Time to just get rid of it. Like I said, I got rid of my copy after what I found out the whole thing was about, and I kind of feel like it should be the same here too. What do you say, brother of a certain age? Should you, if you were listening to the background of this, how do you feel about it, and how do you feel about art versus the artist also?
So I don't have the full context of what actually. I heard you say essay, right?
Right, from the director. He's
Yeah.
known for that. He's been convicted
Okay.
of that.
So yeah. So yeah, I did hear that. As far as the because this is one of those things. It's just like it's really never gonna stop. So if you walk it back to like take like entertainment out, music and movies, but you if when you walk it back to historic figures in American history and hold on, I got a burp. Sorry about that. And the things that they've done, the atrocities that has been committed,
Hmm.
certain organizations, there's certain religious organizations, certain like how do like where do you draw the line of okay, I can't support it, and is it if I don't know I don't support it, and if I don't know that I'm supporting something, then it's okay, or is it do we do our due diligence and say everything I wear or listen or watch, I'm going to look at, the origin of this person, this director or this clothing line or this music producer, like how
Hmm.
far do we go? And I'm here for the conversation. Is like how far do we go, and then what do we do with that information? Like how do we determine moving forward? Because um, for the most part, pretty much you're gonna be able to find something on everybody. And so I guess you have to draw a line in the sand of okay, what's acceptable and what's not. Is a accusation or 100 accusations acceptable because there's no conviction? Is the conviction or for one accusation, is there, what I'm saying? Like how do we determine like what we're gonna allow in
Hmm.
to our space and what we're gonna say, okay, I gotta divorce myself for that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know quite. Again, I got a piece of what you were saying. Sounds like he was convicted of something. Um,
Right.
and listen, if you and this is the other thing too, wherever you stand on these matters and these topics, I don't begrudge anybody for
Right.
you know
Right.
your stance. You have your stance, you have your reasons, and there are reasons why I do things that I do. So, but I think it depends on like if you are willing, or if you're able to forgive. Excuse me, if you're able to forgive this said person
Hmm.
for what they did and move on.
Yeah, I don't know. And part of what I was saying also is this particular review comes around again. This YouTube page where we're at. I just enjoy what they do. They do it very well, and it's geared more towards horror movies and stuff. Although they do some other things too in there, but that's basically what they do. But my thing is, especially maybe being a little biased to the pages I like, how almost like how dare they, in my opinion, come up with reviewing this movie when they know the past. How are they not bothered or support some sort of boycott of it? You know, or is it just entertainment, people doing stuff, leave it alone? What do you do?
Yeah. And how do you determine, like, you know, if you're in, if you like, if you truly love something, um as much as you can love a movie, right?
Hmm.
And then you find out something egregious about the director or the actor, like what, like, do you, are you able to just turn it off and say, you know what, hey, you know, Heath Ledger did drugs. I'm not, you know, I can't support anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you, and it doesn't matter what the offense is, you know, because there are some things that people, you know, a lot of people, I won't say universally, but people feel like there's no coming back from this particular thing. If you've done this, that's
Yeah.
that. And I can't, you know, support you at all ever again in life.
Mm, I think one line is with the kids, of course. Anything with the kids is a line for me.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
um, I'm not into woman beaters. You know, um, not even if you just have a fight or something like that. But if you take the Sean Connery stance on that, who was a known woman beater, who was proud of it, restated it
Yeah,
in
yeah,
in
yeah. Yeah,
you know.
talking about smacking women. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just like, I don't know. And another part is, are things too accessible now? I mean, we know about things that we wouldn't have known about till like maybe way after these people have died. You know, we didn't find out that some of the people we liked were creeps or perverts or whatever until late in their lives when they died. Now things come up as soon as they start bubbling with fame a little bit. You know, all their dirty laundry comes out. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the tough thing about it for me. Like, what do you do? You know, what do you do if you really enjoy somebody's work? Like, are we allowed to say? I don't know how you run your show. You're allowed to. Are you okay with saying names of artists and things like that?
oh yeah, I'm fine with that. I
Okay.
just and you would know how to like uh, shield the terms better than I do. So I'm
Yeah, yeah.
not taking the lead on it. So go ahead.
When you saw what happened to my last stream,
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
it
yeah. I
knocked me
spoke
out.
about that on one of the things too.
And they did
Fake.
that. Actually, my first live, like with the partners, they did the same thing. I was trying to review Tales from the Hood, the story with Crazy K. We were gonna
Yeah.
play it. It was like 10, 15 minutes, but I guess I didn't stop and make commentary. YouTube cut me off, and we had to start up a new, excuse me, a whole
Crazy.
new live for that. And so, like, I guess I'm still learning how to do it. But so I was just gonna say, like, R. Kelly, like his, like, so if you take an octopus and you put out the tentacles, like, where does his tentacles end? And how do you deal with the fact that he wrote for people, he
Hmm.
sang songs, he wrote in for what is it called when music for movies, soundtracks, like,
Okay.
he's every, like, his tentacles are everywhere. So how do you, and how far do you go if you're saying, like, you know what, I can't listen to this guy because what he was into, in anything that has to do with it, or is it just the songs that he sang, not the songs that he wrote? Like, how do you determine that?
That is a good question as you say that. I was gonna say before, one of the things is you also want to achieve that consistency because you don't want to be a hypocrite on your beliefs either, right? And I don't know. I in a lot of cases I think almost whatever he's done. I wasn't a big R. Kelly guy too, so none of his stuff really moves me that way. And I'm starting to think a lot of people in these industries, like I've never been a Puffy guy either. I think there's something with me where I'm just like, I don't dig these guys regularly. Like just something about them that um, I, I didn't find anything good about him in the first place. So it's really not even affecting my listening or my particular kind of entertainment with these individuals too. Um, I've when this thing was going on, I've heard people blasting his music in cars. I'm like, that's an odd choice, like to to be playing it out loud. You know, definitely think they're trying to make a statement that way, but man, I don't know. I think you the thing would be to maybe suppress some of these things. Because I mean, besides music, in other industries, they kind of do that with movies and stuff, right? You look at what's his name? Is it Jason Majors? Majors,
Yeah.
the black dude.
Yep. 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 Yep.
A lot of projects that he was associated with didn't come to fruition because of his situation too, right?
Yeah. So when it's hot, it's normally like hands off per se. Because if you remember like what happened with like Marv Albert, I don't know if you're a
Mm.
sports fan.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
had like a trial. They, it's all kind of freak stuff. And he had lost his job for a little while, right? And then eventually he was able to come back. Even with Jonathan Majors, he's able to, he lost a lot, but and then I'm not even saying like I'm sure he worked hard, so I'm not minimizing what he had to go through mentally, emotionally, and then
Mm.
physically to get people to listen to him and entertain putting them. But you look at somebody like this guy, I'm losing thought. The guy play Iron Man. He's playing Doctor Doom now. What's
Yeah, yeah.
Ro-
Downey.
Yes, yes. Like you would look at the stuff that he was going through years ago, where nobody wanted to touch him. So, like when it comes to like entertainment or like stars or popular figures, there'd probably be a little bit more opportunity for them, but they go through that same like you got to sit down for a little while for whatever reason, and and some of them they come back stronger for years. Rock and roll was what was it, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So
Yeah, yeah.
basically you could do no wrong. You know what I mean? Like how do you do wrong if you can just allow those things in, other than like actual crimes? But like if you allow the window of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, like these guys are going to be stars no matter what. Because and when you see these stories when they got arrested and they got pulled over, it just makes them bigger stars. So
For the most part, and I also think the industry is a little unfair. Like, could there be a black Robert Downey Jr. or a Rob Lowe?
while he was acting, probably not. He would have had to be like, if I could give an example, it would be like Samuel L. Jackson, who his discretions probably happened before he was acting, what I'm saying, before he became a major star. But no, I think like, that's we just let's just be honest. Like when there is a blonde, blue-eyed white woman, for whatever reason, that's Hollywood's. Same thing with their standard was white men. Um, those are the guys who are going to get the typically they're going to get the quote unquote sexiest person of the year. They're going to get the role. They're going to be the darling. So we know that, especially in the states. I don't know about any other country in the Western world or whatever, but that if we're dealing with honesty, we're gonna say that that's where the line is. So if you look like that, maybe you might get that role. You might get that reputation as he's a bad boy. He's
Mhm.
he's going through the women in Hollywood, and it's not going to look as bad. But um, yeah, it definitely is unfair. It's such as life, as far as everywhere. There's nowhere where we can go where somebody that looks like me walking in a certain area is going to give people a certain amount of discomfort, at night, especially at night. Like I'm walking, I
Yeah,
gotta, I almost gotta like show my teeth and skip. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, how's it going? Like I have to almost do that in order for people to feel
yeah,
comfortable.
I
You know
got
what
you.
I'm saying? So there's really no place in the world in this states where, in general, it's going to be fair like that. So I get what you're saying.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah. That was just one of the things there as well. Now, let's switch up. I want to do, boom, a little preview for people because I'm
Hello,
in
YouTube.
a
I
couple
want to
things.
play a game.
Oh, 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 not so fast, people. Anybody out there is watching? Okay, are we ready? Here we go.
Hello, YouTube. I want to play a game. It's called Thumbs Up, Share, or Subscribe to a brother of a certain age's channel.
Ah,
Come on through. Come on through.
some crazy sound effects.
Yeah, I got a little bit more going on. I got a little something for while people are waiting on that particular day. I got a little something to listen to.
All right. Definitely like the trailer. What's up, Keeper? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Um, for before I ask you a couple questions, I Keeper, if you're there, wow, the two people that I wanted to ask, what are your microphones? What's your mic situation? Because I need to find a mic.
I
Uh,
have a Rode Pod mic.
what's it
It's a
called?
Rode RODE Pod
Mhm.
mic,
Okay.
and I run it through Rodecaster Pro. The first one, they got a Rodecaster Pro 2, and they got a Rodecaster Pro Duo. Both of those do more than this. As far as only thing they don't have more, the Duo doesn't have more sound. It's like this has 5 sound banks, 8 per, so I can upload 40 sounds into this. I think the Duo has 6 pads, so you can do a little less, and you can do a voice changer on the Rodecaster Duo.
Hmm.
And the Rodecaster 2 does all of everything that this does better, and then it has a sound cloud. I mean, a cloud lifter, which take makes it so your microphone is going to pull less power built into it. Um, yeah, if one day if you want to, you can go behind the scenes. I can tell you everything I have. I'm running everything through. So, but I do
And
have
I don't want to
I do
spend
have a cloud
hundreds.
lifter.
I don't want to spend hundreds. I just want it better than the mic I got here, of course. Um, without all the interference and everything with it too, you know.
Yeah,
But yours sounds very good. Yours sounds good, and I don't know what Keeper uses, but hers sounds very good too. And I was like, huh, those two are
yeah,
doing something, you know.
yeah. Keep it at that. I love that that Thailand way she incorporated Wolf talking about Thailand. I love that.
But wait, what are you talking about? With her uploads?
Yeah, the upload with when the first
Oh yeah,
one when she did Thailand, it's like Thailand. Who's talking about Thailand?
I don't think I
Oh,
heard it.
you
I don't
didn't
think I
hear
heard
it?
it like that.
You gotta go to her page. You gotta. Oh man,
All
what
right,
is
go
about
back and check. I think maybe one that I mean, I saw them. I even commented on them too. So I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, keeper. I barely use this too. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to. I've had this set up for going on almost 2 3 years, and I just don't use it enough. But my intentions, I promise you, when I first got it, I was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get on here and talk my shit. I'm gonna, you know, you know, I'm gonna be up here and I'm gonna be putting up content, but I just don't have the time right now. So yeah, a keeper. I know the voices is propane. I'm just saying the edit was cool. So yes,
Oh, I see what you're
that is propane's voice. I'm sorry. You was talking about her microphone, but her
saying.
microphone sounds your microphone sounds good, keeper.
Okay, okay, got it. Definitely check that. Is that Mona Moano Maono? How do you say that? The Maono podcast setup.
What? Oh,
Is
I
that
don't know how to pronounce it. Mm.
okay? Yeah, finally. And like I said, man, I don't want to spend hundreds on this thing. It's just to differentiate it away from the computer for the actual computer being a source rather than, you know. how it is now, because I do think it gets interrupted. It interrupts or disrupts some of the sounds coming out of the same place. You know.
Yeah. And that's why, like, before I had this, I was running everything through a Zoom H6, which is, it can be used for like in-person podcasting. So I have four XLR mics, mic jacks, and also was like a fifth one, and it's also a handheld, so you can take it on the field. Because I was always only doing audio stuff, so
Hmm.
I would run everything through that. But the Rode was something that once I got my, I wanted to do like, I wanted to get a little bit more crispier. I upgraded my mic because my first mics was I had it was 3 for $39 Behringer mics on like Amazon. I bought them
3 for 39.
3 for 39, but my idea was to, on the processing end, to get all these pieces of equipment, and so I can make it sound like a professional mic. And
Ah,
so that's what I initially did, but then I just wanted to step it up. I wanted to streamline. I want to be able to sit down, press one button on a power strip. Excuse me.
okay, gotcha.
And then
All right.
everything comes on one button. Everything, lights, everything comes on, camera, everything comes on.
Oh, okay, okay. So let's get to this. I like your advertisement here. What do you even call it? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, I guess a little trailer.
Trailer. That's the word I'm looking for. Right. Trailer. So we started off this month, had some good conversations. And again, for anybody watching, go back and see, the lives that we've had here. We've had some great people step up and have some great long conversations. Last week was another one. You never know who's going to stop by, man. And I need the Frauding Charlatans to come in so we could check out his page and some of the things he's doing in here. But because I was doing this one a week and then finally stepped up for October, I was like, you know what? Essentially, I could do every day all year about Halloween and scary movies and stuff like that too. But I see what you're saying there. But I just decided October, this is something I know. I know there are other horror enthusiasts out there. So let me start off with October and see how many themes I could kick in there and do this too. So I guess some of that along the way inspired a brother of a certain age to commit to doing this date, actual Halloween date, and carry a show that I believe starts at 9:30 p.m. Is that Eastern time, right? Where'd you go? Hello.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Say that again.
So it looks like when we had that discussion, it inspired you to get your show happening and commit to the date on actual Halloween at 9:30. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
So awesome. So next thing we know, this trailer comes out, which is great work on the trailer. You could talk about that a little bit, what you did, what you used. And obviously it was used some of the Saw theme in there as well.
Yes.
I'd be interested to know, what kind of are we hanging out, or do you have major plans on that day, or what?
So I have, anytime I go live, I always plan like at least an hour. And then depending on the chat participation, it can go longer or it can go shorter, but I always plan out for at least an hour. And then it's excuse me, talk about I got stuff planned. We could do 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Like I have multiple decades planned out, but I might have some trivia, some questions. Maybe something that was said during some dialogue. Like I have a whole thing planned out, but if nothing else, I'm just gonna go live Halloween and talk to people and see what they want to talk about. Talk about horror movies, and if not, if and the way I plan that stuff out, but if it goes to a different direction, it'll go to a different direction. And I have,
Cool.
and I might be in costume,
Oh, all right.
but the costume will very. What I'm thinking of is something that might be fun depending on people's sense of humor for the sector, because that's most even though I don't do sector content, most of my audience, they'll understand it. The people that don't understand it, I'm fine with that.
You're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, the people, yeah, somebody that's like, what is that? But the people that understand it, we'll have some fun with it. But the main theme would be to talk about horror movies. I have a love for horror movies, and I think, I don't think I'm alone with that, and I think it could be a good conversation.
You could be propane for Halloween.
I wouldn't be propane. Propane's a battle rapper. I don't want that smoke.
No, you don't want to do that. Be Stephanie and have a vest on.
I might listen. I actually, let me.
That sounds awesome. Do that, man. Even some trivia would be good. Be cool too.
Yep.
I won't hold you to any prizes or anything this time.
Yeah. Look, I a small channels. We gotta limit the prizes.
The prizes or a raffle. Have a raffle.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. I'm gonna have some fun though. I definitely want to have some fun, and I only need 2-3 people in the chat, and we could stretch it out.
That's cool. I want to definitely try to be there. I haven't looked at what day of the week or anything it is yet, but actually I could try to look it up now. It's a Thursday. Yeah, should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
Look at this month. We are halfway through this month already, man. 1, 2, 3, 4. Already doing that. That is crazy. Yeah. So what do I have? This one. I'm just looking at a calendar here for a second. So initially, I thought I'd be doing 4 of these. Obviously, one for now. I see we're in like the way I do it on a Tuesday or Wednesday. I could still fit in about 2 more, almost all the way up to Halloween night. So,
Yeah. I was thinking about doing a couple. Like I said, I was about to. If I didn't find you live, I was just gonna click live and see what's what. But I may do. We got 2 weeks for Halloween, or 2 weeks roughly.
Yeah.
2 weeks Halloween. I'll try to get out there and just do something.
Yeah.
Just kind of just remain in people's minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Important. I think you're well enough known that people, you could put on whatever and they'll show up, man. They'll definitely show up for you.
Yeah,
so
get a couple people in, we'll rock out.
Cool, man. I'm looking forward to it too, Yeah. What else did I have? I'll close off in maybe about the 2-hour mark. We got about 1:47 right now, so let's see what we get here and close off. So obviously you like Halloween, and I know you're in certain conversations and whatnot, but in terms, I'm trying to remember one of the movies that we talked about, but one thing I wanted to ask people, what is your guilty movie pleasure that you like on Halloween?
Guilty Halloween.
Maybe a goofy, stupid, or just out there Halloween movie that you're like, all right, I'm allowed to because of it.
I don't. There's not movies that I like watch like that because I can't. You know what I'm saying? Those but there are I'll do the trailers or I'll watch the beginnings. Like I think like Halloween 4, 5, like they're like they're terrible movies, but I watched the beginnings of them. You know what I'm saying? Get a little, or I watch a trailer because they're just the mask is bad. It's just, I don't know. Even 3, because 3, I remember being as a kid being so disappointed at 3 because they got you into Michael Myers and then they just do a whole movie without Michael Myers, and it's like, how do they do that? Season of the Witch.
What were they really even thinking? Tell you the truth, man.
Yeah. So so I enjoy Halloween, the holiday, and I enjoy the movies for sure. There's a lot of them that like they just really did a bad job with. But I
Yeah,
love horror enough that um I'll pretty much give something a shot. Anything a
yeah,
shot one time.
yeah. And I think I'm kind of like that too. And that's Halloween for me. So I can watch all the stupid stuff. I mean, I watch a lot of the stupid stuff anyway, but even more of the stupid stuff that I put away just for October, where I guess I could say I'm allowed. I'm allowed to watch this movie now because
Right.
it's Halloween, and that could include I'm advertising for them like I'm making money off of it. But who is it? Was it Prime? No, it's Shudder, who released all of the Friday the 13th on there now.
Oh,
So
they're up there, huh?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's a big
I do have Shutter. I don't utilize it enough. But what
yeah.
happens when I go to these because I'm sub to like about 10 like horror channels. Like
Hmm.
some of them are small, some of them are big, but they start bringing up these things, and I'm like, I gotta, they doing reviews, and I want to participate in the chat, so I may have to go do a quick little, you know, you know, watch of a odd movie, because Shutter has a lot of that, a lot of
Yeah,
stuff that.
yeah, it does, it does. And I'm trying to think. Defrauding, where were you? Man, we had some topics for you, or a topic for you at least. And I was like, needed you to be here. It's cool, of course. If you got to do what you got to do, man. So no deal. If you do want to jump on, I was going to commit to another 10 minutes or so. But if you want to come on, throw some new energy into this, get your feel welcome too. This is your second home too, man. You, a
Yes,
brother of a
yes.
certain age, don't mind doing that, man.
Yeah,
This is
man.
the end of the night. Uh, I still have my dessert waiting up there, so that's got to
What you,
happen.
yeah, what you got going on? What's your dessert?
Apple pie, my man.
Oh, okay, you can keep it basic, delicious. It's it's hard for somebody to mess up apple pie, but apple
Well,
you can make your apple pie can be separated from other people's, but it's hard to like mess that up though.
this one, I only normally it would be cookies or something like that, or some sort of chocolate. But I got this one because it was on sale, first of all, and it was normally it's the crumbled one. You know what I'm talking about? It's not just the flat,
Yep,
uh,
yep. I got you.
glossy pie base. It's like it's the crumble thing. So yeah, I think I have about half left. Probably start with half of that. I put it in the little oven thing there, about 20 minutes, and then there you go. Have that.
Oh,
Probably won't do ice cream
yeah,
this time.
you doing it proper with the 20 minutes in the oven.
Hell yeah, man.
Doing it
Toaster
proper.
oven. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yep. I'll be put in the microwave for like 15 seconds.
yeah. You can't wait that extra 19 minutes to get it like it just came out the bakery.
Yeah, no, I'm joking, but I don't really eat snacks like that. I try to
Yeah.
stay away from, but if I am gonna have something, I'll go to like there's a couple of local people that I know here that
Ah,
make amazing donuts or the cake cups or like oh man, there's some people that really make desserts real good around here. So I probably wouldn't what I'm saying it'd be a little bit more. If I'm gonna get some sugar, it's gonna be sugar.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I'm a binger too. Like I wake up. So the fact that I can set aside to have my apple pie now is good. Other than that, I'm waking up at like 2 a.m. and eating sleeves of cookies, man. Like just I could do a whole bag of cookies. I don't have the discipline to just get up and have 3 or 4. I have the discipline to get up, take the whole bag to bed, and I feel like I got to finish it.
Yeah. That's the thing about like I can't have it in the house because excuse me.
I hear you.
I get to eating, and you open that. Do you open that some chewy Chips Ahoy?
Oh yeah, that's
You
one of
think
them.
you think you're just gonna have one and what I'm saying go sit nah. You pull it now they got that little pullback thing, so it ain't like it used to be where you had to secure it. All you gotta do is
Take
push it
your
back
hand in
on and
there.
it stick. Yeah, grab me. I I'm a big guy, so I could grab me a stack, about 8 of them in one spot, put it on
Yeah.
a napkin, and then it's like, okay, they're soft, but let me just warm them up a little bit.
Oh, nice. You do that, dude? That's a
Heat them
lot.
up. Yeah. Like 10 seconds, and then, and then after I'm done, you know, after I'm almost eating my fingers, I'm like, "Oh, you know what? Let me go get some more." And it's just, yeah, I got so if I'm gonna have a day like that, I'm gonna make it a day, because I can listen, man. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3", about two.
Yeah.
I'm 268 now, but you start feeding me, I'm going in.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing's better than waking up, eating snacks, and then falling asleep again while you have your snacks, man. It's just, but I can't do like I'm not as tall as you. I'm like a 5'10" dude, but the weight, especially if you're getting older, man, I can't do that like I used to, because you feel it.
Yeah,
All
oh
that
yeah.
sugar. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. As you eat it,
Yeah, and you know you shouldn't be doing it. You're like,
you know it.
you idiot.
You
You
know it.
know.
It's I should not be doing this, but you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, well, look, man, I didn't work,
Yes.
I worked 3 16-hour shifts in a row. You know what I'm saying? Like, I deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Let me talk myself into it. But that's something that's rare for me.
You're like, if the man wants this, and it's like, it's such a small ask. It's
Yeah.
such a small ask
Yeah.
that you're like, yeah, it's some cookies. There's worse things I could be doing right now. You know what I'm
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you gotta be extreme to justify. Like, I ain't smoking crack. You know what I'm saying?
saying? Right?
I'm just eating some cookies. You know what I'm
It's not
saying?
even like far off. It's like, I didn't smoke a cigarette. It's like, I'm not doing heroin. I'm not injecting.
Yeah, yeah. But nah, but but you listen, man. It's all in moderation. Hold on a second. I gotta take a call. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
do your thing.
I will keep it going on over here. Last chance, not last chance, make it sound like that, but defrauding charlatans. I wanted to hear if you are over there. I brought up who you will know the name earlier, Victor Salva. And the reason I brought him up is because one of my, I guess I'll say, one of my favorite YouTube horror people, which is Off the Shelf Reviews, out of the blue, bastards are doing a Creepers review. And I mean, I don't know. I just I take exception to that, because I just think it's one of those things that people should, hate to use the word boycott, but just let it go. It's not bad. It's not good. It's wondering where you stand, being a story guy, on separating the art from the artist. If you are inclined to do that sort of stuff or not. And I guess I'm sort of inclined, but I don't want to be a hypocrite out there. I threw out my DVD that I got promptly when it was available, because I thought it was such a good story. But like somebody said in the comments when I was looking down, the movie has an ick factor for them, and I kind of feel the same way. Wonder how other people were feeling about it too, And I wouldn't want it to just be this guy. I would like it to be consistent for just around the board, with anything like that.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's really tough to decide how because when what do you do with that information? Like, if you're ignorant to it, then you can enjoy it. But if you know and you have a hard line drawn, like, how do you move forward and watch some of this stuff, or allow yourself to be entertained by it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely, man. Definitely. I thought about guilty Halloween pleasures, movies. Let's say I'm pretty much like you. I guess where that is. Yeah, and I just watch the same ones over and over again. You know, as
Yeah,
where I uh, I, I was on or I used to hang with this young lady, and this is very early in the courting, and so we're finding movies. This isn't this year, by the way. It's like I think last year, maybe 2 years ago. So we're looking for movies to watch, and I haven't seen it in a while. But The Thing comes up, and she agrees. She wants to watch The Thing. I'm happy because I love the movie, and I believe I already told her I've seen the damn movie, right? But she wasn't really great at listening anyway. So we're watching the movie, and I guess I said something to again give it away that I have seen this movie, and she's like, "You seen this movie?" I'm like, "Yeah," and she thought it was so weird to want to rewatch a movie, man. So we had that little tiff, for a little while, and she damn near made it so unbearable. Like I didn't even want to watch the movie, but I watched it out of spite because cause I knew that she didn't want to watch the movie either. So it's like, this is better for me watching. So we watched the whole damn movie, but she couldn't understand why I wanted to. It was The Thing, by the way, which is a great movie. It's a good rewatch, several times or as many times as you want to watch it. And yeah, I don't understand people that can't watch a classic. I think there are people that aren't really like us that don't understand good movie viewing or the experience. You know?
yeah. A good like it's I don't know, like do you not listen to a good song, or you know what I'm saying, like things that entertain you,
Yeah,
like you go back to them, you know what I'm saying? And obviously movies is a different thing because it's going to take up more of your time, but
yeah,
there are certain times when even now you have the ability, if you even if you don't want to, watch the whole movie, you can go and find your favorite scenes of a movie, and
isn't that neat?
but yeah, but like I don't see anything wrong with that. And there are some people, I do know some people that are like, "Oh, you saw it already? I don't want to." It's like, nah, but I enjoyed it. I'm not I'm not 15 where I'm gonna be like, watch this, watch it, and I'm
Yeah,
laughing before the jokes come and stuff like that. I generally, if I seen it before, if I'm at the movies with you, I want to watch your natural reaction to those things. Uh,
yeah.
but if it's a good movie, I can watch it over and over.
You want to share that experience with somebody
Right.
that you care about, right? The
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
experience, right? And you're right. You listen to the same. It's not quite the same thing, but it's close. You look at the same picture, things that you enjoy. And isn't it funny? I was talking to some people. Um, Same thing like when I threw away this DVD. Back in the day, if you got a VHS or if you got a DVD, you really thought it was like the collectors, like there was never going to be a copy
Yeah, yeah. Sp-
ever again. So you
sp-
kept it in pristine condition. You had a shelf for it. You put it there on the shelf with the label facing out, or however the hell you do things, thinking like, I got this copy. Come to now, where it's like you can you can find anything you want in like 4 seconds.
but that's what they sold us on, right? For a
In
limited
better
time only,
quality.
right? For a limited time only. I got the remastered VHS Star Wars movies because the Star Wars was never going to come to DVD because George Lucas, they got me, bro.
Right.
They
I
got
have the
me.
same tape of the same vinyl to the same DVD, and now on MP3s.
Yeah, yeah, they got us. They got us. And they repackaging, remastered, extended um copy, director's cut. Like they just
Yes.
death by a thousand cuts, my man. Just to your pockets. You know what I'm saying?
There are movies I got like it was the last copy, and then I'll be like flipping channels or looking on Prime, and I'm like, they're just gonna stream this, like,
on on
yeah, I'm
TNT.
just gonna stream this shit, and I'm like, what is this quality, dude? Like, the way the quality is now with 4K, it's like I haven't even seen it this good. Like, damn,
Yeah, they gonna put it on FX channel with the cursing and everything in it. Like, yo, really?
Like, this is bullshit. And these kids don't even know how awesome that is.
Oh
What how
yeah, man.
awesome of a time they're in when they could just
It's
call that
such a
shit on
good thing.
TV. Like,
To growing up to be able to see a movie after it got out of the movie theater was like a 2-year process.
yes.
And now they running them on streams while they in the movie. It's like
In the theater too. You're like, when this come out? You're like, this just came out, dude.
yeah,
Remember how to get I'm trying to tell these kids. I'm like, so the movies coming out is one thing. Your local Blockbuster or mom and pop shop might have about 3. This is before Blockbuster had like 20 on the weekend. They
right.
came out with like 3 or 4. And then if you didn't get there early enough, oh, somebody has that. You had to depend on.
Yeah.
I remember my video places calling their house to be like, hey, you guys,
Yeah. Yeah.
you think you're gonna bring that back?
Your movie's overdue. Yeah, somebody's waiting. Like, no, we got 3 copies and all 3 of them are lent out.
And you're sitting there, you actually listen to the phone call, like, yo, they're calling somebody's house.
Yeah, they trying to, be kind, rewind. You know what I mean?
You have to rewind it, right? That's an extra fee, or they do it right there. And it take a good couple minutes to rewind a whole ass movie.
Absolutely. And you could then they had the little mom and pop stores that had the movies that the bigger ones really didn't have.
Yeah.
And they were cheaper. They had the 5 for $20. And then Blockbuster caught on to that with the 5 for 20 and stuff like that. But it was just such a different time where you had to, and if you even go back further, there was no such thing as binge watching. So you couldn't get a whole season of something released on one day. You legit had to wait till next week to watch the same bat time, same bat channel. You had to wait till next week.
Yo, these guys do. And I remember my dad, you had to rent the VCR back then with the movies.
Yeah.
Most people didn't even have a VCR till much later.
No, didn't have
released about 3 movies, which was pretty good to have 3 movies for the weekend, and a big ass VCR that you had to attach to the TV, man.
Yep. And it was like really only one person in the area in my projects, like out of so it was like 40 buildings, so probably like one out of every 5 or 6 buildings, somebody had like one of those popcorn makers with the yellow, like the yellow glass on it, where you put the kernels in, it would make actual popcorn. Yeah. You couldn't. There was no pack of 20 that you just bring home and pop in the microwave. It was everything was such a process. It wasn't pre-buttered popcorn. Like, nah, you had to make your own butter, heat up your own butter on a pan, and pour it over the popcorn, and have some of the popcorn soaking wet at the bottom. And
man,
but the experience was everything.
So much so that sometimes you barely made it to the second movie. You'd fall asleep by the second movie.
Absolutely.
This is just what it was, man.
Or go to the drive-in. See, this is like so movie for horror night. This is like the kind of conversation I want to entertain, where we just and dive deep in some of these horror movies that we love, and some of them we hate, and talk about scenes, jump scares, like all of that stuff. I want to talk about all that.
I think when you do it, you should, you should have the segments like that, right? Are you gonna do it like that? Like, let's talk about jump scares, and what was a movie what was your best jump scare that you had in a movie? And then kind of go round table like that.
Yeah, I could do that. Listen, it really depends on how many. Now, if we have a full panel, then we can really. I would drop a nugget in there and let the panel go. You know what I'm saying? And the machine will just move itself. But yeah, I could be more like structured in a way. Like I have notes and stuff, but I can definitely structure it, bullet points, and make sure that I touch on these things. Actually, good idea.
That would be really cool to go through and we could reminisce and bring up a whole bunch of, on the same topic for a lot of these things. Yeah. So definitely do that. Manuel, what's up? I think you got to hopefully you'll come in for replay gang, because I think we're closing up just
all
about
right.
that.
I hear you, bro.
Definitely appreciate you always, brother of a certain age, man. You inspired me to do this. You come on and you check on me. and support me while I'm doing all this stuff too, man. So really appreciate that, and hopefully I can continue to do that. And you got my support for anything you're doing too, man. All right.
Yes,
Make
sir.
sure if you're out there, I'll just do it for you if you want. You can clean up if I mess anything. On October the 31st, a brother of a certain age, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. We will all be there. I will be there. Whoever else is going to be there. Definitely having great discussions on Halloween. Emmanuel, you're going to be there. I'm sorry you missed so much, bro. I feel bad now. I want to stay on, man. I'm kind of tired too, to tell you the truth.
Nah, I appreciate you for hanging out with me. I know you wanted to shut it down a while ago, but I was up here holding you up, but I appreciate it. So,
oh, man, it's cool, man. Appreciate the contributions. So, be there October 31st, which I now know is a Thursday. We'll be doing that. I'll be trying to put up a live here, maybe one or two before time, so look out for that. And a brother of a certain age. This is definitely, if this was the partners, you'd be the fourth partner.
yes, sir.
And well, this is definitely a home for you, man. So never be shy and never be afraid to just step on up whenever you see me, man. Appreciate it again. Have a good night. Do you have anything to add about your channel or anything?
Nah, man, just come over there, brother of a certain age. Come over, sub, and we have conversations. We do, we it's a more like personable conversations, and if you want to do that and also have a little fun, stop on by. But other than that, support Last Call. He's very a big supporter of mine, and he's also he wants to grow this channel. So come here, check the lives out, check the shorts out, the uploads, the replays. All right, man, I'm out. Peace.
All right, night, everybody. Well, we had another good one, I think. Thanks again, a brother of a certain age, stepping in, man. It's always interesting. You never know where the conversation is going to go at that, And no shortage of serious things that we seem to get into. And I'll reiterate, just in case there's any doubt, I never mind going off track or getting into any of these questions and answers that we seem to get into. I think by now some of it's kind of expected, even if you come in with an airtight plan about whatever it is that you're going to talk about. And I still got to talk about some of the things I want to talk about too. I don't think it's a bad if I clip that out or make it short. And putting it out there, Thank you, everybody, for stopping by in the chat, supporting, keeping me going. And thank you for stepping up and being part of the panel, a brother of a certain age, too. And any replay gangers, appreciate you checking out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. Thank you. It definitely makes me feel good trying to grow this thing, and I'm enjoying it so far. See what else we could do as we build our community and we support each other and we talk about things too. Last week when I was on, you guys know Stephanie, she was on. Stephanie was on for a while, and we talked about a lot of things, some deep issues, and she was really thankful for just, I think she had a tough day, and she just wanted to chat a little bit too, and glad to give her, the space to be able to do that. And definitely like doing that. So if you are out there, don't hear from me. Hopefully we will meet again next week. Take care of yourself. Be good to each other. See you around.